Hi, I'm Jeremy from Sparrowhawk 3D. In this video, I'm going to run over the feature changes for the new version of my Jiggle Deformer. If you've ever tried to use the existing version of the Jiggle Deformer with a Genesis figure, those supported in Cryo 8.5, you may have found that after more than one instance of the deformer was added into the modifier list, things really start to slow down. It was initially to find a fix for this that I decided to add multiple areas into a single modifier, and then some other new features followed on from that. With the new version, you'll only need to add one instance of the deformer to a model. I've added in some buttons to copy the settings between areas, and a link feature to speed it up when using the plugin with conforming clothing. First, I'll revise how the Jiggle Deformer works. Jiggle is basically an automated magnet deformer. An area of the mesh within a zone is displaced when the cryomagnet is moved. If you wanted to animate something like the stomach on this cat, you'd have some trouble using a magnet because a magnet moves whatever is in the zone in that frame. Jiggle stores a list of the vertices and their weights. You could try creating a set of morphs to move the stomach around. If the figure was simply jumping up and down, you could dial the morphs so the mass would hang down at the start of the jump and then remain in the air at the start of the descent. Once the figure was still, the mass would bounce up and down for a short time, with each bounce lesser than the last. The Jiggle Deformer plugin does the physics for you by tracking the movement of a target mass parented to the figure. You can adjust the amount of stretch allowed before the mass becomes taut and is pulled back towards its resting position. Simple physics tells us that once something gets moving, it wants to keep moving in that direction until there is a change. Friction and dampening forces will bring the mass to rest. You can adjust the parameters in the deformer to get more natural or exaggerated effects. The default values are set for how the soft flesh on a normal human figure would behave. With the new version, each part of the mesh model that you want to jiggle has its own area. Every area needs a target mass to track the movement and a spherical inclusion zone to select the vertices. I've positioned the zones and targets for this figure. When rigging the Jiggle Deformer, always zero the figure pose and set the plugin's progress slider to 0. Don't forget to set the progress slider to 100% at the end of the animation. If nothing is happening in your animation, please check that progress slider setting. Each target mass needs to be parented to the nearest bone on the figure. The distance of the target from the bone is important and should usually be located in the middle of the jiggle area. Use the Edit button to change the name of the area from the default. Choose the target mass. And choose the inclusion zone. All of the other default values should be fine in most cases. Create a new area and select the target mass and zone for the opposite side of the body. Use the Copy button to copy the animation parameters from any of the other areas. Using the Show Weights option, we can see which parts of the mesh are included in the zone. When you are happy with the areas, check the Store Weights box for each of them. Once the weights are stored, you can freely change the figure pose at progress 0. If you don't, the zones will be reprocessed every time at progress equals 0, and so can be in the wrong place or include unwanted geometry. 1, 2. Jeez. The Jiggle Link feature helps to quickly get any conforming clothing to copy and maintain the same jiggling areas of the figure wearing it. Add the Jiggle Deformer to the clothing, then select the actor of the figure with the jiggle already set up, choosing which areas are required. These will be stored and ready to go. Any changes to the linked figure's parameters will be updated by the link. Jiggle makes its calculations frame by frame, therefore it relies on a steady frame rate. If you make some jumps back and forth in the sequencer, you'll get strange results. To help any interaction with cloth or other physics, I've added in a record feature. This is similar to hitting the Simulate Physics tool icon, except that it requires manual operation. First, you need to enable and prime the recording for all the Jiggle Deformers. Hit the Run Simulation button and it will process and save the animation. In playback mode, the results are steady. And that covers the most important features of the Jiggle Deformer plugin version 0.7. I hope you have some fun playing with it.